My heart hurts is the first thing that came to mind when I saw the release of this manifesto from the shooter in Nashville. And I want to give a shout out to Steven Crowder. If we're going to assume that it's accurate, and I have no reason not to, it actually was confirmed by some outlets that we don't know if it's the full manifesto, but we know it's at least part of it. I want to give really big credit to Steven Crowder and his team. It's insane work. I don't know how they did it. I think he talked about it behind the scenes at the Mug Club. I didn't get a chance to listen to it, but I did listen to it live. Thanks to Rasputin on the Discord. I didn't hear of it until Rasputin this morning posted it right on time, and I clicked on the link, listened to Steven Crowder right then. Big shout out to Rasputin for sharing that information on our Discord. And it's I think it's an emotional time for our country, and that's what this represents. It's a lot of emotional things going on. You have 300,000 people. I don't know why that's not a bigger. I feels like that's an underrated story. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not listening to the rights. I don't know. I feel like that's an underrated story. I had no idea. I had zero idea that the issue in the Middle East would create what looks like. I mean, it looked like a million people, but from what the reports I've seen, 300,000 people marching. Whatever you think about that, I'm not even looking to debate some of these issues. I'm just bringing up what's going on, and definitely not debating the Middle East today. But 300,000 people walking down the street with a Palestinian flag, basically, no American flag. That is just, I don't know. I'm really shocked by that. And then not just that, it's in damn near every major city, it seems like. Dearborn, I was not shocked. I was shocked everywhere else. New York, Chicago, even. So it's emotional time there. The poster pulling down stuff is really hot and heavy in New York. I don't know if you saw this. An older Jewish man got killed. It looks like I don't know what the details are. It looks like somebody hit him over the head with something. Man, stuff is getting wild. And we got this manifesto, and I think if it's true, and I think it is. What's up, Toy Mafia? Keith Ward, no, long time no chat. Thanks for stopping by. What's up, Neo? But I have a lot of thoughts on it. It's a reflection on our country, and the biggest first takeaway is Steven Crowder, just excellent work. I have always talked about the work that Steven Crowder does. There's a lot of controversy with him outside of the work that he does. I really don't care about that. All I do is I watch his show I don't even watch it for the jokes. I watch it for that's how good he is. And today was just one of those really good shows for me personally because it was more straightforward and less of the jokes. But yeah, we always got to laugh too. Don't get me wrong. But he does a great job with the sourcing. He dots his I's, crosses his T's, and got a break, man. Got a huge news break that puts his company in danger, and people that work for him in danger potentially. That's journalism. We talked about Laura Loomer the other day. That's journalism. So that's a big takeaway. But as far as the content of it, the biggest takeaway that I have is that I really on this I don't have any interest in arguing the white supremacy stuff and all that. I'm not going to get into that. Um, I will touch on what are the boundaries. That's what I think we need to talk about right now. Is what are the healthy boundaries? Because we are going to have disagreement. There's no law that's going to stop that. And you can report videos, you can do whatever you want, you can call someone hateful. That's not going to stop disagreement. That's impossible. Even if we get my utopia decentralization, You're going to always have disagreement within whatever faction you're in. And this whole white supremacy, white privilege, and all of that, I'm not going to take that into blaming it into the tragedy of this shooter. I'm not going to really use that to connect. But the big part is that information was withheld. And that's what my biggest takeaway is. And it not only is information withheld here, that's the most important thing. Information has been withheld. And we need to, just for a second, people who believe in the idea of white supremacy, people who believe in critical race theory, you're allowed to believe that. People who believe in the rainbow flag, you're allowed to believe in the rainbow flag. I'm allowed to criticize you too. But we're actually in the same boat. And I don't know if you realize that. When they withhold, and when I say they, I use they because I don't know the names. What do you want me to? I don't know. Somebody's withholding it. I don't know who it is. I don't know who to blame. I don't even think the police department's the right place to blame. This is higher than that. So when I use they because I actually don't know the names. But people are behind withholding this information. It's been out there. Why are we holding it back? Why has it not been released? In fact, Steven Crowder is being criticized for doing journalism, for leaking it. And that makes us all in the same boat. If you have the rainbow flag and you see the world differently than I do, you're in the same boat as me. They withheld the information from both of us. If you believe in critical race theory and white privilege and all that, well, we're in the same boat. I don't agree with that stuff, but we're in the same boat. They withheld the information from both of us. What does the information mean? It only means so much, but it is worth discussing how disrespectful it is for someone to withhold information like this. This is life or death. And I want to focus for a second on the rainbow community. However, y'all, I don't even like the word community. However, I've heard a lot of people talk about the LGBTQ community. If you use those and relate to those terms, man, they were really disrespectful to you. And just to me too. But to you, because it's really disrespectful to you because they act like they love you. And we can name names here. We can look at the regime. You can look at Joe Biden. You can look at these politicians. And they act like, oh, well, I'm here for LGBTQ rights and all these different things. They hate you. They absolutely hate you. How else could you describe it for them to withhold this from you? They withheld it from all of us. And then now are actively kind of like proudly saying, we're going to look into how did this leak out? Well, I think internally that makes sense, but they're kind of like sticking their chest out, kind of saying like, well, we're going to find out how this got leaked out. Well, are you going to talk about what got leaked? And again, I'm not making broad claims like maybe some others might be on this stuff, but that's the bigger story. But it should be the bigger story, but it's not. You have these people who, and you can use this as an example. Jerry Nadler, and I think of this, made me think of this. He's walking down the street with a rainbow flag. So he's literally walking down the street, waddling around with a rainbow flag. And he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what he's in the street for. These are the people, if you are a rainbow person and believe in this and vote for Democrats and believe in Biden and all this stuff, this is him walking down the street.
Congressman Nadler, my name's Alad from Timcast News. I just had one question for you. How would you respond to all the right-wing moral panic that we're seeing surrounding Drag Queen Story Hour?
All the what?
The moral panic surrounding Drag Queen Story Hour from the right wing.
Suggesting what?
What do you think of all the right-wing moral panic we're seeing in regards to Drag Queen Story Hour?
Jack who?
Drag Queen Story Hour?
Oh, I'm not familiar with Drag Queen Story Hour.
You're not familiar with Drag Queen Story Hour?
No.
At all? You've never heard of Drag Queen Story Hour before?
No.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll follow up with a different question then.
I think he was telling the truth, because if he had known about Drag Queen Story Hour, he would have defended it. He's walking down the street with the rainbow flag. Isn't that what you're supposed to do? So I play this video to show these people, he's walking down the street with the rainbow flag. He doesn't even know the issues that are hot in the world right now, in the U.S. right now. They proclaim to care about you. If they did, then why would they withhold this information from you? The same people who are celebrating and encouraging, and I'm not trying to argue that right now, but the point is, if you are going to celebrate and encourage someone taking a pharmaceutical drug, if you're going to celebrate and encourage somebody transitioning, if you're going to celebrate and encourage somebody coming out and all those different things, and you have this here, if you cared about that person, wouldn't you say, well, here's some information. I'm not obviously making any broad claims over it because I care about you. I just wanted to show it to you. Do with it what you may. Maybe you trans groups can take it and look at it. And if you are in that position and you identify as trans or care about trans people or all that kind of stuff, wouldn't you say, hey, if you're not feeling right, get some help? That's what you would do. You would release the information. You would say it doesn't make a broad statement about anybody, but we can learn from it. We can dissect it. We can think about it. We can discuss it. We can talk about it. They weren't trying to keep it from the mean right-wingers. They were trying to keep it from you. They know this is going to leak at some point. If they were trying to keep it from the mean right-wingers, what they would have done was leak it to some LGBTQ trans group or something like that through the press. Leak it to them, then they know it will eventually leak to other people. But we gave it to you first, this group. We trusted you with it. If it leaked from there, I mean, they would never announce that, but that's what the mentality would be. It would be, we're going to leak it to you. You've got it. We're going to trust you, this group, with it. If it leaks from your group, then we knew it was going to come out anyway. We wanted you to have it first so you can give it to your community. What the hell kind of community do you think they respect if they withhold this from you? It's just all lip service. It's all ridiculous. This should be something that unifies you and me. I don't hate you. They hate you. They hate me too, but they hate you. They hate us. There is no higher form of disrespect than not only hiding this information, it comes out, and your number one story is, how did it come out? Because they think you with the rainbow flag, they think you're as stupid as black people, that you're going to vote for them no matter what. That if we tell you, oh, we don't want this to come out because we care about you, that you're going to believe it. That's where we're at. And that's the sad truth of this whole situation. We are grown-ass adults. Grown-ass adults don't hide information like this from other grown-ass adults. What else are they hiding from us? It's not about coming to the same determination on the information. It's about having the information. I would be the first, if you're saying, oh, I care about your kids and all of this, I would have that information and give it to the doctors and say, hey, is there anything you can see from this? I mean, this is not something that happens every day. Thank goodness it doesn't. Is there anything you guys can get from it? Congress, you guys go ahead, do a little commission or whatever, get some scientists together. Or I don't even know the right. I'm thinking about mental health. Get some people together and say, hey, what's your takeaway from this? Is there anything we can take away from this? Do something. Do some type of research on it. And not that I would believe these experts from the research, but that's what you would do. They're still trying to hide it. We don't even know if we have the full manifesto. I saw this from when they brought Dylan Mulvaney to the White House. And I'm like, fine, if you really believe in trans or I don't even know what Dylan, drag, trans, whatever Dylan he is, whatever they are, brought Dylan Mulvaney to the White House. Why wouldn't you bring other trans people to the White House that have a different, if you really cared about trans people, you would bring other trans people to the White House that have different point of views and have a discussion where it's, I don't know, I don't follow a lot of trans people, but I think Sarah Higdon is her name that is with Post Millennial, which has been on Tim's show before, Blair White. There's people out there that have a different point of view, and that might identify as trans or drag or whatever identity. And you can say, if they cared about you, they would have Dylan Mulvaney up there, then they would have some other counterpoints up there, and then they would have a good discussion with different points of views, and then be able to say, hey, look at this. This is what diversity is. We brought up the Rainbow Coalition of gay, lesbian, bi, whatever, pan, this and that. And and some people are on different sides of the political spectrum. We let everyone speak. We left, we dapped up. It was on peace. You got all the perspectives. You make the best decision. You make the best choice for which one you agree with. No, that's not what they do. They bring in these same people who have the same mentality. That's not diversity. And that's the same mentality as this. They don't give you the information. They tell you to be obedient. If you're not obedient, you're kicked out of the group. They do that with Jewish people. They do it with black people. They do it with trans people. How can you make an informed decision if you don't have the information? How can you say you're free if you don't have the information? That's my biggest take about this, is the battle of information has gone completely loco. And that's why the pandemic woke me up. I never in my life, when the pandemic came, that's not that long ago, never in my life did I think the government would withhold or lie about information that had to do with the general life or death of its citizens. Now we know that for a fact that they will. So what that means is they will condone any action up to and including unliving you. That's what it means. That's the unfortunate, truthful reality of this situation of the informational battle. They just don't have the guts to tell you. They don't have the guts to come out and do it. And we sit back like idiots and allow this nonsense to happen. We're in the same boat. You might have a rainbow flag. I might have a rainbow flag with a slash through it, but we're still in the same boat. They withheld information from both of us. We should both be asking for the information, and what the hell else are you hiding? Instead, we acquiesce and fall into this tribal nonsense. Well, I'm gay, I'm supposed to do this, or I'm not gay, I'm supposed to do that. You dumbass, they're holding the information for both of us. They're treating both of us like bitches. We don't have to agree on anything, but I think we should agree on that. Wait, hold up. Where's all the information? I want it now. And it manifests in the J6. Why is the aftermath of the J6 a political thing? Why aren't Democrats just as mad that we don't have the tapes? They've effectively neutered us into these tribes. We should have full transparency. Joe Biden, in the bill, this is not just Joe Biden, this is from the House, Republican House, wrote up a bill where Israel would get money, and it's a blank check bill. It doesn't, usually it has the appropriations to exactly where the money's going to go. This bill said Israel gets in the bill is like 3.5 billion unmarked, whatever they want to get. Ukraine, Rand Paul said, well, let's follow the money. Let's hire an inspector general, special. I always forget the title, the inspector general or whatever. All it is a pencil pusher. Hire the pencil pusher to track the money. That's all they said. That's all they take. So even if you like Ukraine, why is that a divisive topic? If you like Ukraine, wouldn't you want to make sure the money's going to the right places? Everything goes towards adhering to some higher governmental group. And like, oh, well, I trust them. If they don't release the manifesto, I trust them. Why? There's got to be a reason for that, for hiding this. You would never accept that from anybody else. Why are we accepting that from the government? Who do these people think they are to hide the information? And the only reason that is this, you can't make a law to make them give you the information. If we are too stupid to demand it, then they don't have to do it. There's no law that's going to be there. How do you draft a law that says you have to release? I mean, I guess you could, but if you need to draft a law to say, hey, if the shooter's dead or whatever, you got to release the information or all the stuff you got. Come on, that's not good. All they would have to do is probably say national security, and that's a wrap anyway. You can't, laws are not magical things. If we're not demanding it, it's not going to happen. You know what it looks like to respect drag people or trans people? I forget who it was. Tim Pool on the Culture War had two, I think they were both drag people, performers or something like that. This was months ago. This was a while ago. I think it was kind of earlier when they switched it over to the Culture War. He had somebody on one side and somebody on the other side, and they sat up there and they had a discussion. That's somebody who respects the debate. That's someone, not even the debate, that respects the identity. Even though he's not an identitarian like that. He has respect for even the people who are identitarians, to have both sides up there and we have a discussion. You can see that with right now. You see people with large platforms that don't have any discussion. I talked about Piers Morgan and what's his name, Youssef, just mopped the floor with him on Israel. But I give Piers Morgan credit. Piers Morgan had a discussion with him. There's tons of people with these large platforms that can go get large people. And then not only that, they're taking pot shots at other large people. You know, their peers is what I mean by that. I don't care how many followers they have. Some people with the largest followers have the most cringe ass takes. But what I'm saying is you've got a platform where you can bring your peers on, or at least openly offer it. I mean, you look at DeSantis, The View offered DeSantis to go on the show. He didn't go on the show. I mean, that shows a lot about DeSantis in a very bad way. The View said, come on the show. He says he didn't want to come on the show. You've got to have separation from these fears. Oh, if the manifesto comes out, then the right-wingers are going to say, who cares? Especially if you're on that side. The people who would criticize it, they got to run over to Rumble. This live could be taken down at any moment for hate or whatever. People who report it. Where's the hate? I'm telling you that we're in the same boat. But that could happen. So the people that would really be kind of using it in that way are damn near ostracized to like corners of the internet that not nobody, but it's not going to have the same impact as all the people that you bend the knee to. They've got the corporate media, the platforms, the politicians, the social media. They got everything. And you still are scared about the manifesto coming out. That's the biggest takeaway, is that the informational war, the biggest part of the informational war is hiding it. And then on top of that, it's deranked. They put the weight on the scales of any type of criticism. So it's withheld, then it comes out, then it's I mean, Steven Crowder's doing his live in every five. I watch it on Rumble now. I think everybody does now because on YouTube he's got which is a very brilliant idea. I really like that. He has somebody, a producer, does the dump button, and basically you just hear elevator music until I say the appropriate things that wouldn't get me banned on YouTube. A grown ass man talking about a grown ass topic, and he has to censor himself on YouTube. So you hide the information, and when people talk about the information, you still have to hide. Then on top of that, the information comes out in social media, deranking, demonetizing, blocking, putting warnings. There's probably going to be a warning on this video. What's the warning for? Yeah. They don't care about you. Remember when Joe Biden had the trans event or the whatever rainbow event, and then you had this tranny or trans or drag performer taking their top off with fake boobs as a biological man with fake boobs and the white, just looking like a hot mess, just an embarrassment. Does that look like somebody who cares about your community that would have that kind of tomfoolery at the White House? Well, you're flying the flags and everything. Wouldn't you have the most respectful Wouldn't you have the most respectful representation of the community if you cared about the community? No, you've got this caricature of the whole rainbow alphabet just making a damn fool of everything, of you, of the White House, of the country. Then on top of it, you see the hiding of the information. To say they couldn't care less about you, that's not right. They hate you. And I'm talking to you, Rainbow Warriors. You already know they hate me. They hate you too. And see, you've taken your ire and you've pointed it at the wrong people. Just because we disagree doesn't mean I hate you. I do hate the Israeli government, but that's not you. That's not the people. That's not you. I hate our own government. Damn, the Israeli government. How could you not? As far as the content of it's not even a manifesto. I mean, what we got was, I did shout out to Stephen Ignoramus. If we did a show today, we're going to do it at least monthly on Rumble. And he said it was like I think he said it was like some poorly written song lyrics. It was so short. There's not much there. So it's definitely not, doesn't fit my definition of a manifesto. I mean, my definition of a manifesto is I don't know what the mantra is, but it's a writing that is so detailed that it takes time to unpack. Like you look at Kaczynski or any of the other ones. Kaczynski's was crazy. And I did an article on that. You can go to the website, but that's a manifesto where it's a detailed explanation of someone's philosophy. It doesn't have to be with these mass incidents, obviously. So we didn't see any manifesto here, but we got an idea of the thoughts in the head. And when we go to the thoughts of the white privilege, and I don't think I can quote too much of it. I am on YouTube here, and it's not really that. I don't really need to quote that much, but the manifesto targeted saltines and with white privilege. I want to unlive all you little saltines. I'm paraphrasing. I hope I have a high unlive count. I'm ready. I hope my victims aren't. Talking about kids. And when I heard Stephen read it, he did a great job. And then I went to X and kind of read it and followed up. And my heart hurts. She's obviously gone, the gunman. But my heart still hurts. The pain that's there, there's unbridled pain. And then you see the pictures of this lady when she was a young girl, and you look at it and it's like, this is of the devil. This is a demonic, just for me, this is a demonic transformation. And you got to look and see, how did that happen? Is it just a one-off? I'm not rushing to any type of conclusion here. And you know why? It's because I'm hearing people do the same thing they're doing to libs of TikTok. Libs of TikTok doesn't tell anybody to do any type of acts of violence, doesn't tell anybody to do anything bad, basically has a philosophy, posts what people post, just recurating information from TikTok and other places. And she's done some legit journalism too. But before, while she was rising up, and the problem people had was, well, you keep showing this stuff, something could happen. What kind of sense does that make? I said I want secession. So are you going to do that with me too? I say peaceful as much as I can, because I know people who are disingenuous, who want to keep you quiet. They call you racist, white supremacist, and then they call you violent. They call you domestic terrorist. It sounds familiar. It's from our own president. White supremacist, domestic terrorist, all that kind of stuff, just to shut you up. And I could say I want peaceful secession, period. And that's all. I'm not saying that just to avoid the algorithm. You don't have to say peaceful. If you don't want a peaceful secession, all you have to do is say secession. You have to actively look for it and find it. And I say peaceful secession. So is somebody going to come, if somebody go do something stupid, obviously I don't have that reach, but just hypothetically, if somebody goes and does something stupid, now you're going to come to me talking about, I said for peaceful secession? Why couldn't you do that? I am not going to take all the stupid white. This stuff is stupid. I didn't even take it. I mean, I take it seriously because other people go, but I personally don't even take it seriously. It's just really stupid philosophy. It's critical race theories, the philosophy that everything is racist. That's just dumb on its surface level. But I talk about it seriously because there's a lot of people that do take that seriously. But I'm not going to say critical race theory led to this tragedy. I don't even see how you connect those dots. Just because this person had whatever issues going on and put some of that stuff in their writing, that's lunacy. Somebody watched Tim Pool and did something that doesn't show anything about Tim Pool. That doesn't show anything about an ideology necessarily. And even if it did, if the ideology is not preaching violence, I don't see violence being preached by CRT. You tell me where I'm wrong, what you're seeing there. Yeah, there's might be some people that say a couple crazy things, but that's not the ideology. That's not the idea. There's no violence inherently in CRT. Now, I know you can talk about neo-Marxism, separating people, and then the end goal is to create chaos. And out of that chaos will be the violent throws to overthrow the government. That's overthrow the status quo is what it is. But there's no overt call for violence there. That's just not, it's not a connection that can be made. So I'm not seeing that there. When you talk about the medical part, from whatever drugs might have been taken from the pharmaceutical companies to transition, that's a whole, I can't comment on that. But that's why I said you need the information. And if you've got how many kids in the country taking this, young kids or, young adults taking these type of things, is it a concern? I don't know. It's just one incident that I know of. Maybe there's more. That's if we had a serious society, that's what Congress would do. I think they would go and say, just like the pandemic, they would say, here's what's happening. We're seeing more LGBTQ people than ever before. We have this manifesto from this situation. Just like the Buffalo shooter, I think, was kind of dabbling in, I don't know if it's the Buffalo one, but in right-wing type of stuff. We have this thing here. Is there a mental illness? Is that the problem? How do we handle that? I don't see anybody that works for us, the politician, taking something like this seriously and saying, wait a second, the information should be out. Not only that, now that it's out, here's our, I hate to say commission because now that's where they usually throw stuff away, but an honest commission where you say, here's our study. That's what should have happened during the pandemic. Congress should have, you could have had the House had their own study, Senate had their own study, or the House and Senate get together as a legislative body having their own doctors make assessments. The CDC can make their own assessment. Local affiliates, every attorney, surgeon general, state surgeon general, every state could have their own doctors. So you have all these different viewpoints, and you can see and you can argue back and forth, and none of them make a determination. They all just say, here's our finding. Why wouldn't you have that with not just this manifesto, all the manifestos? Why don't you have, that's a serious, it's not a gun discussion. It's a serious discussion of what's going on. And you can talk about it, and there's a rise in gay people. There's a rise, every single Gen Z I see it, and that could just be what I'm getting curated. But when I go outside, see young kids in the high school, coming out of the high schools that are by me, when I see it on TikTok, I'm going to talk about men, young men, they just seem gayer than ever. And there's nothing wrong with that inherently. My concern is there's a rise, it seems, and the stats show that. We've talked about it. Show me, do a study. Why is that happening? Is it organic? Is it not organic? I just read a story about a married couple, I believe, where the man became a woman and the woman became a man and the child is trans. I'm like, what the hell? I'm not, maybe that's organic, but it's like, we got to figure out, is this, what's happening? Is this a growing thing? And that's not to be disrespectful to people. That's literally to just find out what's happening. This has never happened before. And I haven't seen Congress do any official. They dabble in debate over kind of surface level stuff. Nothing serious. It is very serious. Metalopoly, thanks for stopping by. It's deadly serious now. The freaking president keeps saying white supremacists are the biggest threat to our democracy, and colleges teach this. I definitely am not for that, but I am not going to tie that into any type of larger unliving movement or, actions. And do we have a pattern? Even if you could tie it into, Joe Biden is not saying to unlive anybody. So it's legal speech. We got to figure out what's happening. And that will transition into this. I think that's all I got to say on that. But this is a good transition into peace. We got to figure out, peace has got to be the number one thing right now. As much as I love the decentralization that's happening, that's what's happening. When you see, there's so many beefs popping off. I never seen beef like this popping off since I've been following this stuff closely over last 3 years. And I don't know if it's all like tension, like bad beef, but I've seen people who normally would agree, disagreeing on a lot of stuff. And that's including me with a lot of people and it's everybody. I'm seeing everybody disagree with a lot of people now. And I say that these are people that normally would agree on a lot of things, not to mention people who don't. If you don't have a fundamental connection or anything like that, and you disagree on these topics from Israel to LGBTQ stuff, man, there's going to be some real serious tension popping off. And if we had politicians who were serious, we would have politicians who would say, let's talk about the boundaries. This is where we're at. Not this push for Islamophobia. That's the push from the White House. The push from the White House should not be about Islamophobia. I said that if politicians really cared about this country, and this goes towards what you're saying, Metalopoly. Here's my take here. If politicians really cared about this country, they wouldn't be talking about these ridiculous terms like racism, anti-Semitism, and even anti-whiteism, which is basically critical race theory, and Islamophobia. These are very generic. The problem with these terms is that they're almost, you can't define them, and they're too vague. So if I say he's a racist, what does that mean? What did he do? You don't need these terms. You need to talk about the specific thing that bothered you. So they're talking about Rashida Tlaib is anti-Semitic. No, I don't. That doesn't work for me. What did she do that you don't agree with? That's what I need. And then somebody might say, well, she said from the river to the sea. Well, you might not like that term, but she explained what she meant by it. You can say you don't agree, or you don't believe her. That's fine, but you don't know what's inside her head. I don't know what's inside her head. Your anti-Semitic label doesn't work on that one for me. Just disagree. Just say you don't agree with her statement. And she did come out with a statement on the From the River to the Sea slogan after she got some, I guess, I don't know if it was after she got feedback or whatever from it. And she was basically saying, I don't mean unliving people is what I took from it. You can believe her or not on that, but I'm not going down this racist, anti-Semitic role with that. That's trying to use generalities to hide substantive discussion. That's what all those terms are. And our politicians, if they were serious, would be talking about how these are all legal speech. I don't care what you label these things. These are all legal things. It's not illegal to be a racist. It's not illegal to be anti-Semitic. It's not illegal to be anti-white. And it's not illegal to be Islamophobic. It's just not. And what does that mean? It's very general terms, but generally speaking, those are not things in the book. Those aren't illegal. Now, when there's hiring practices and things like that, but just generally being separate from hiring somebody, something like that, just being that in life is not illegal. Doesn't mean you get to keep your job, but you don't go to jail for that. That's what they would be talking about. As long as you don't violate somebody's rights, let's talk about boundaries. That's what we need to talk about right now. As we see this decoupling, people falling apart and separating, and you're going to be moving to areas. That's what's going to happen over a time frame of years. We have to be talking about what is it that does not violate somebody else's rights. Mayors, governors, police chiefs, lawyers, politicians, everybody should be involved in this. All hands on deck. I don't know how grown adults don't understand this. Things are too heated. In a sane world, protests would be permitted. What does that mean? It doesn't mean the government gets to decide what ideology gets to protest. If the government wanted to do that, they would just take the police and they would just arrest people on one side or the other, which you could argue happens. But that you don't. Telling the government that you're going to protest somewhere is just telling them I have right to this place. And the government agrees. So I want to go down Michigan Avenue in Michigan, in Detroit, Michigan. I want to do a pro-Palestinian rally on Michigan Ave in Detroit, Michigan. They sign off on it. They say you're good. Everybody goes down. They do the rally. Somebody else comes through the rally. You could have people who are against them, whatever group. They are in the wrong. They got to get held. They got to get moved up out of there. They're the ones causing the tension because the pro-Palestinian group told everybody they were going to be there. We have right to the sidewalk. We have right to the street. That has to happen. You cannot have the First Amendment without that. Otherwise, if you don't have that, what you have is 1,000 people go to Michigan Avenue, pro-Palestinian, then 1,000 non-pro-Palestinians who are fed up go down Michigan Avenue, and neither one of them, you don't have more right to the sidewalk than I have right to the sidewalk. Or the street. If you didn't permit your protest down the street, I can drive down the street. You don't have any more right to, that's how it should work in a real world. You don't have any more right to a public space than anybody else. Unless you've set aside like a Thanksgiving parade. I've set aside, I've given notice. This is my free speech. I'm going to do a turkey parade down Michigan Avenue at 2 p.m. It's going to go from 2 to 3. After 3 p.m., you got to be out of there because I can now take the street and do that. We have to talk about those type of things. And that's usually done on the state level, local level, city level. They've got to figure that out. now. There's a lot of stuff going on with these signs, and I haven't heard a politician in New York talking about it. So what happened is there was this video that came out where a woman was taking down the signs from, the kidnapped, innocent Jewish Israeli people, either kidnapped. I'm not sure what was on the posters, but obviously tragedy happened to that person, missing, and they're taking down the poster. Somebody walks up on them and basically, why are you taking it down? Why are you doing this? And then that person grabs the posters from them and just takes them away. That's not acceptable. That is an escalation. That is as unhinged as taking down the posters. It's a piece of paper. At the end of the day, it's a piece of paper. So what you need to do is figure out something to go somewhere else, cool down. You don't grab something out of people's hands, because now you've got an escalation. And the girl retaliated when she grabbed the papers out of her hand. The girl came and tossed her to the ground. That other girl's putting herself in danger too, because the original one could have smashed up on her, as far as beat her up too. The physical confrontations, that is crossing the line, even with taking down the posters, which is as bad as that is. That's not a physical thing. It's a piece of paper. You can hang up more if you want to hang up more. That's the equal opposite response. You took down 20 posters. I'm going to put up 20 more. And I don't know the laws about whether you can even put them up on the post like that. I mean, most areas you can't, because it's too much stuff. Who gets access to the space? So basically, you can put your posters up. Well, then I can put posters up over them. Why not? Unless you got legal permitted right or whatever to advertise on that mailbox or that lamp post. If you didn't get any type of authorization to put your papers up on the lamp post, well, they could black it out. They could go walking around with black poster board or paper, wrap it around those photos and tape it up. You don't have any more right to the lamppost than they do. I think that would be a more fair thing for them to do, other than instead of ripping it down. But that's ripping them down is less work. So that's why we have to start setting these boundaries. Like, okay, if you're going to hang up I don't know the laws here, but you say, okay, if you're going to hang up these posters of the missing Israelis, understand a public figure should be saying this. Why is nobody coming out and saying, like, we need to, whoa. Like, if you're in a football game, you see people kind of not even throwing punches, but you see them about squaring up. I'm talking about the players or in the stands. You see them kind of staring at you like, oh, let's de-escalate this. Nobody, I'm not seeing it from anybody publicly. Why isn't Eric Adams come out and say, we're seeing a lot of these videos on the flyers. Let's address that. He don't even need to do a presser. He can take out a phone, and I know he's busy with other stuff, complicated stuff, implicative stuff, but you could pull up on the phone and say, here's the thing with the papers. Nobody has right to the lamppost. So you can record them, you can shame them that way. That's perfectly fine. But when it comes to the lamppost, nobody has rights to it. There's no need to put hands on anybody. What is that going to accomplish? What are you hoping to accomplish with that, other than escalating things? That's what our politicians would be saying. Instead of setting that tone of what free speech is, what are the boundaries, we've got a bunch of people who only want boundaries for speech they disagree with and no boundaries for themselves. That's what it's coming down to. But on a good note, I got a happier topic here in a second. We're going to talk about Alpha Core. Big day for Ripperverse comics. Let's look at the comments. Oh, Taco, what's up? Just saw this movie called Machine Gun Preacher. I've heard of that. Never seen it. The guy it was based on visited my church yesterday. In one scene toward the end of the movie, he said, God doesn't want sheep. He wants wolves. I like that. Let's see here. Metalopoli said, from the river to the sea literally means they want to drown all Jews in Israel. Gaslighting doesn't work anymore. Words have meaning. You can't just change the definitions willy-nilly. I change the definition all the time. I define populism however I want to define populism. I define equity however I want to find equity. No, she can redefine it. She can say that, or not read it. She can say that's what I mean by it. Do you believe her? You don't have to believe her, but it's not illegal. And it's for damn sure Marjorie Taylor Greene shouldn't be worried about censoring. For what? You could go down the street, ask 1,000 people in a row, what are the implications? What is a censure? You could ask somebody that. What is a House censure? What is a Senate censure? What is that? And I bet you zero, not one of them could articulate what a censure is. And a censure is nothing. All it is an official markup of you did something we don't approve. That's all it is. It's a House rule thing. It's nothing. So, yeah, if she wants to say that, she can say that. Her constituents there's nothing illegal. If she's done something illegal, then she needs to be arrested and investigated. That speech is not illegal. That's the same thing they do to Donald Trump. Exact same thing. Same thing they did to Owen Schroyer. Owen Schroyer said 1776. And they said that meant whatever. No, it doesn't mean whatever. Here's what it means when I say it. So I want to be consistent. Help me out if I'm not being consistent there. Because you say, well, from the river to the sea literally means you want to do bad things to people. Okay, well then I say I want a peaceful secession. And a lot of people, even when I say peaceful, other people say, well, that's impossible. You want non-peace. Jack Posovic, of all people, said G.I. Joe. Called me G.I. Joe. You first, G.I. Joe? G.I. Joe? Bro, what are you talking about? I wasn't talking about any G.I. Joe. No, I understand what you mean down the road, but literally right after I said it. So you say river to the sea means drown, then they'll say, oh, peaceful secession, that's code word for something violent. No, it's not. I told you what it meant. So I'm not buying that on the river to the sea stuff. Some people might mean it that way. Some people might not. We can't put like phrases. That's I understand it could be coded, but you can't decode phrases. Because then you could say peaceful secession doesn't mean peaceful secession. If you're going to decode it, who decodes the phrase? So I understand what it might have meant historically, but it's still legal speech. Are you saying it shouldn't be legal speech? I guess to me it doesn't even matter as long as it's legal speech. And yeah, you can criticize, of course. I think that's the counter to it, is criticizing. For me, it's more important to talk about what are the boundaries. That's where we don't have a healthy relationship in this country right now, because we have not set healthy boundaries for each other. Like, this is what I'm okay with. When we have disagreement, this is what I'm okay with. This is what I'm not okay with. I mean, it should be the law, it should be the Constitution, but yeah, it's all it is. It's not even, it's an internal House thing. Censure is meaningless. Do you realize they censored Adam Schiff? That went through with Anna Paulina. The first time it didn't go through. Second time it went through. Okay. Oh, I'm yawning. Like, what is that? What is that going to do? What does a censure do? It's a dumb House procedure. Has absolutely no meaning. Maybe it once did back when people had honor and looked at things differently. Now that has no meaning now. Impeachment doesn't mean anything now. I can't believe him. Is MAGA still trying to impeach Joe Biden? So there's feedback on the Discord. People, someone, I forgot the name, is Sir Jeffrey or something like that. And I appreciate your comments on the Discord. Was saying I was inconsistent on the impeachment, and I can understand that my take is, might be kind of hard to follow, and maybe I'm not articulating myself as good as I should be. With Joe Biden, there's a ton of things. I said there's about 50 things that could justify impeaching him alone that I could rattle off. I mean, not seriously, no less than 50 things. Maybe it's a little bit much, maybe 20. I know I did a video a while back where it was like 15. So I know there's at least 20 solid things, no joke, by themselves is impeachable of Joe Biden, and he should be impeached over. So should he be impeached? Will he be impeached? Does it make smart political sense to be impeached? Those are all different things. Will he be impeached? Of course not. Does it make smart political sense to impeach Joe Biden? Absolutely not. He's old, senile, worthless. He's a terrible candidate. Why would you? And the elitist class doesn't want him anymore. Clearly, they're trying to move him out of there. So, doesn't make sense. He should be. Well, I'm not saying he should. He could be impeached on a myriad of issues, but strategically, it makes no sense. I'm not for expulsion though, but yes, expulsion is greater. Expulsion is a very serious thing because now you're kind of overdoing the will of the people of the district. I definitely would not be for expulsion for anything that they've done to this point. Why? I don't agree with them, but they didn't break any laws. I'm definitely not doing expel. Not to say that you were, Taco, but just to be clear, I'm definitely not supporting Tim Scott with his terrible take. His take was basically they should have been expelled. I'm like, nah, I'm not for that. I don't support that at all. They don't need to be expelled just because I disagree with them. Now, if they broke the law and people are talking about Rashida Tlaib taking money from unsavory terrorist type groups, then is she arrested yet? Why isn't she arrested then? Where are we getting this from? There's no due process? No. I'm not for that. There was a great day here. Great day for Rippaverse. Congratulations to Eric July and Rippaverse. Once again, they did it. Apolitical on a day with all this politics going on. Eric July dropped a new animated trailer. I haven't really been excited for animation like this since like Batman, X-Men, Justice League. Rippaverse Studio is a big winner in all of this. Hold on, that's the first one. Let me get that's the teaser to the teaser trailer. Let me get the real trailer that has the voiceover and voices and everything. It's dope. That was the one that was released on Friday, I believe. That's when I saw it, I think was Friday. Here's the real trailer. 2 minute 48 seconds, and it's got the voiceover and everything.
Floorspar can be an unpredictable city. Affluency doesn't mitigate its problems. In some ways, it amplifies them. This is why we're deployed. But we've seen better days.
Then why are we just now debriefing?
This mission is not complete.
I only know of her. Our lack of data collection is a problem.
Valdez, I'm aware of your investigative talents. Braxwell spoke highly of you, and that's why you're on this team. Local law enforcement handles itself very well. But there are those with abilities. Some believe themselves to be good. Others don't even attempt to act as if they are. Either way, we're involved. Not everyone will agree with our status. But that can be said for anything. May I remind you both, we're Alpha Core, and failure is not what we do.
What this bruh has accomplished in a relatively short period of time is just, I said it might be one of the biggest stories in entertainment, period. National stories in any piece of entertainment, period. And what are we, 2 years now? Is it just 2 years since Isom won? And he's got the Rippaverse Studios with animated shorts at this point. About 2 minutes, 30 seconds of a cartoon right there. You know, the Batman, the old half an hour Batmans were only about 15 minutes long. It was only about 10, 15, or maybe 20. I mean, he could put together 10 of those and have an episode. I mean, that's crazy. He doesn't even need to he can make the episode 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He can make them 8 minutes. I mean, he could just upload them on YouTube. I mean, he's damn near got a cartoon coming out. We got the Alpha Core, we got the Isom 2. You put them together, you might have 5 minutes right there. That's crazy, man. And I'm excited about the Alpha Core, man. Let's take a look a little bit more. I got my son. Don't tell my son I got him a book for Christmas. So I got 2 covers. Let me show you what we got here working with. So on the website, here are the different covers. Oh man, it's so cool. I'm not a comic book, historically a comic book. I used to get them from the library, but I wasn't like got them all collected and stuff. I don't know all the jargon and stuff like that. But now almost 46 getting comic books, and we're going to read it. And these covers are dope. I mean, he's getting better. I don't know the names of the people here. They got the names of who did the covers, but I mean, this is dope. This is cover A. So I got cover A for the kids because cover A, this is Alpha Core. If you don't know, the ones in green here. I'm going to read a little bit of the story. I don't know this character here. That looks like a new character. I've never seen that character with the electricity. But that's the cover A that basically shows the Alpha Core the best. Here's some more artistic covers. Cover B. That looks sick. I don't know who that is, though. But it looks sick. That's a great looking cover. So I wanted to get cover B and C, but I had to get A for the kids, and then I got C. So this is the foil cover, and this one's this is my favorite one. I just love the look of it. Because you got the Alpha Core there in the background, then you got it all. Because I don't know this character. That's got to be a new character in there. So that's cover C, and then cover D is dope too. So a lot of people that were telling me they like cover D the best. That's a unique cover there with the realistic looking faces. So that's good. So it took me a while to decide. I was probably in the store for an hour, to be honest with you. I was at work though. Look at these screens. These screens look amazing. Eric July is dope. Taco says this is great. Man, this is like, I know, man. Eric July is a goddamn genius, bro. I agree, man. I don't know, man. This dude is. Do you know how hard it is to pop up a business like this and have it be successful like this right off the start? I mean, all of his work for years grinding to earn trust with the audience, to build an audience, and then to build the trust enough to be like, I'm doing this and it's not political. It's what we talked about with the movies and stuff we used to love, and to transition it over to that. And then there's a lot of hate that comes at him. I didn't see it today, which I'm not looking for. I'm good with that. I didn't even see it today. I don't know what. It was just a great day. I think the Nashville shooting and all that. Everything that I saw on Alpha Core was all love. I don't know what happened. Maybe they're getting tired. I don't know, but maybe they just can't hate. I mean, you got Chuck Dixon writing it. Man, so look at these screens. This screen is dope. Oh my goodness, man. I think these are the dopest screens he's ever released. What did they call them? Did they call them interiors is the proper jargon word. Because they're just sneak peeks of the graphic novel. It's really a graphic novel. I think these are going to be about 100 pages or something. I really like that. That's the perfect length. It was about 90 to 100 pages. That is the perfect length. It's not too long. It's not too short. Like the 20 pages is like, it leaves you wanting more. And it's just, this is the right length, I think. But look how cool that is. I mean, it just looks great. The color work. Did Gabriel Taib did he do the color work on this too? Because it looks different. Joe Bennett? Who is Joe Bennett? I don't know. I know these are famous people. I don't know all the comic book people. Because Gabe El Taib did the color work on this. So Joe Bennett is the artist. Does he do the color work too? I don't know. But it's good, man. It looks sharp. Let's look at the interiors a little bit, then the story. So the rest of the interiors, here's one here. Looks amazing. Oh, this one right here with the skull, that looks old school. That looks like an old school joint right there. I love that. Kind of mixed in with like a newer, kind of like a sharper version of kind of the old school comic books you would see. Like a modernized, so the people on the right here look more modernized, I would say, but they have that vintage look to them. This right here is like straight out the 90s. This style here with the mummy, this person getting burned or whatever, that's straight out the 90s. That's straight out the 90s. Take a look at the benchmarks. Bruh crossed 500,000 day one. Today's the first day of the launch. I don't know how that compares to the other ones, man, but this is good. That's a good sign. Release the Eric sketch. What is that? Is that his own sketch? That's funny. So we can laugh. I don't know how much. I'm not going to put any limit to how much this will get. I will say the Yaira, I think, will get over 5 million. I think that the Yaira comic written by the Saska twins is going to get over 5 mil. Let's go to the campaign story. Though an affluent city, Florispark, this is Texas, is not without problems. The Florispark police are very capable of handling formidable threats, but excepts are like the mutants, you could say, in X-Men, still exist, and some of them have the worst of intentions, and that's why they need Alpha Core. So it looks like there's going to be a dynamic between Isom wanting to solve his mysteries, his own mission. Alpha Core looks like they're going to be against the Exeps. And then you'll have Yaira, who Yaira looks like a complete loner, badass, female kind of superhero, like an Ice Queen type of thing. And they released the cover for Yaira too. The Accept team, known as Alpha Core, is called in to take care of Accept-related problems that Florida Park police are too outgunned to handle. But not everyone is a fan of their superpower heroics, and not all of them are on the opposite side of the law. So when a thwarted bank bombing launches an investigation that spins into a string of murders by Accept. So to me, that has a feel of like DC Comics. When you start talking about mystery, because Marvel wasn't too much mystery based, right? Marvel is more just like straight up superhero, American type superheroes, and DC's American too, but more detective work. Taco says, I love how the fuck them hoe ass Rhodes guy managed to pull this off. That's funny. But that's how he was able to pull it off. Believes one thing that libertarians, especially ANCAPs, believe is in free market, because that's all you got. You don't have it in government. So yeah, he's fucked them roads. He's so tired of those. I used to listen to his live. He'd be like, if I have to talk about those roads one more time. But that's how. What's up, Buddha Cafe? How you doing? If you have to talk about. I was talking to my wife about libertarianism, and she brought up the roads. I was like, oh Lord. Oh Lord, here we go. If you don't know, what happens is with libertarians, people say, well, if without the government, who's going to build the roads? As if that couldn't be handled by private business. Now there could be some complications, because you could have a road and there'd be more tolls potentially, but. Guys, life will still exist without the government. Trust me. I think I'm pretty sure that it would. Chilling like a villain. All right. Appreciate that. We're chilling too, looking at the Alpha Core. So it's a bank bombing launching an investigation. Spins into a string of murders by Accept. Brian Solari, Braxwell, this is the Alpha Core. And Ingrid Valdez must work alongside fans and non-fans alike to uncover the mystery of who has been the puppet master pulling the strings behind the crimes. How does the Alpha Core operate? Who is on the team behind our three main heroes? And who will they discover is behind the recent string of felonies? Find out. Target audience for Alpha Core is early teens and up due to comic violence. There is no explicit gore, sexual contact, or language in the book. My kids are 4 and 7, and I read the books to them. I have had no problems. But Saska's twins, they tend to be a little spicy, which is a good thing. I'm still going to read it to the kids, but the Saska twins, the Yaira, I highly expect the Yaira comic book to be really spicy in a good way. And now you're seeing the different universes. Well, they're in the same universe. I think the whole point is he has one universe, but the different parts of the universe now coming to life. And I don't know how. I wonder how they keep the story continuous with the different writers as you bring more people on. I wonder if he uses AI. My first thought is I would use artificial intelligence. You'd have your stories written out, and you could even tell artificial intelligence, find out the inconsistencies. And that'd be the most efficient way, but I don't know. I would love to know how they do that process. I was watching some of the streams. The Saska twins who are doing the Yaira book were talking about how they met with Eric July, and they were talking about the transition. So it sounds like right now they're just talking and doing it, or maybe they're not telling all the secrets. Buddha Cafe says, bro, can you keep me up to speed why so many streamers, comic fans are against Rippa? Even more after he hired the big dog OG comic artist writers. I can just tell you my thoughts from afar. Some takes I'll tell you I'm confident on. This one I'm not as. There's a lot going on. Everything is usually not simple. There's a bunch of different things going on. The number one thing going on is the same political divide that we have where they don't release the manifesto. And even if you're a rainbow warrior or you're a Democrat and I'm a libertarian type or MAGA type or America First type, even though we don't see things the same way, we should be able to agree at least that we should have the information. There's no reason that that should be withheld from us. And we can't. And the same thing is here. Eric July is very smart and he reaches people, and he was very good during the pandemic. And we found out during the pandemic, there's a lot of people that don't want you to tear down what they view as God, in my opinion, which is the government. So they looked at Eric July, and he tore a new, he had videos struck from YouTube, I think it was at least 2 times, and he challenged, they got the strikes removed. Man, that was not normal. That's not normal to have. He's just very smart, and he knows how to talk about these issues. And so he became the political enemy of many people within the comic book world. The comic book world was no different than metal. He does a metal band too, and raps. Metal, hip hop. Now hip hop's changing a little bit with going to Trump a little bit, just because now it's cool to go back to Trump. But it's not all of hip hop. But you see that momentum, Waka Flocka, recently. So what it is they didn't want to align with anything that he did. So he did this. They didn't want it to be successful. They were wrong. It was successful. So that just angers them more, and they feel like they should have the ability to cancel him. That's really part of it. The other part of it is it's apolitical, and that makes it more dangerous. That's what makes Tucker Carlson dangerous. Tucker Carlson he's not a Republican. He's not a Democrat. He can talk to Russell Brand. He can talk to Donald Trump all in the same day. What that means is, well, he's not apolitical, but he's not like tied into a political party. And that means he can bring people together. Tucker Carlson can. He can bring populist left to populist right and libertarians all together in agreement. That makes him way too powerful. Whenever you start doing that, that's when the FBI and that's when that happens. And and Eric July, this is a apolitical comic book, so they're worried that people who align with them on the left will like the comic book and be aligned and fund Eric July. So they're worried about that as well. They want the money to go to Disney. They want the money to go to their gods, not to Eric July. That gives Eric July more power. He can hire people to do videos, or, he can expand what he does. They don't want him to be able to do that. And that's just 2 things. And there's more than that. But those are the 2 big things that come to mind. Everything's political. Everything is political. Taylor Swift hooking up with Travis Kelce, people made that about politics, about Trump. The View made that about Trump and politics and the vaccine. That wasn't The View, but that's part of the story. There's nothing that's not. Everything is political. If something pops off in the Middle East, everyone's supposed to have a take. That's our new pop culture. So even though he releases a book that's it's not aligned with any political ideology, it is political just because of that. Because who needs to see a Democrat and a MAGA and a Republican get together talking about how cool Bloodruth is, or the new Alpha Core book? That's dangerous, because then you can kind of look and say, okay, we don't agree on everything, but you're not my enemy. So that's what he's jumping into very dangerous waters during this time. Even the government. I mean, he's got to dot his I's, cross his T's. So I think that's what it is. You don't want people to get together. You've got to have disagreement. You've got to have fights. But the OG writers that made the great comics are in no way part of any establishment. It really feels like the comic book industry has been taken over by squatters. They've prioritized. It's much like our country. Like the health of our children should be number one, right? Not to listen to the government and take a vaccine just because they said so. And I'm not making any type of medical. I'll make a medical determination if I want to, but I'm not a doctor. I won't. So I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is the health of our children should be number one. And was that number one for everybody? I mean, it should have been unanimous, 90% plus. No, it was not unanimous. It was take it, don't question it. And so that's a life or death situation. In the comic book industry, it's like it should be, even if you don't like the comic books, you should be like, wait a second, this is cool. He didn't do a Kickstarter. He did it on his own. He's self-funded. Who else is out here who's doing YouTube, saving their money or whatever they're doing, saving their money, and then they can do this. This is a path. This is a different path. And it should be, even if you hate the book, I hate the books, but I like what he did here. I like the path that he went on, and he's bringing people to comic books. I've never bought a comic book in my life. If you like comic books, you should be like, damn, he's bringing eyes to the industry. He's not even starting beef with anybody. Eric July has not started any, as far as these comic book stuff, he has not started, he'll finish it, but he hasn't started beef with nobody. Libertarians are for peace. He's straight up on peace. He never dissed anybody. Even when people said they didn't like the story, whatever, he didn't diss none. But he's like, if it's not for you, it's not for you. I'm fine. I'll take the feedback or whatever. But that's what they're really trying to do. They're trying to make sure that you have to go through a certain path. You could go on Eric July's channel, and he had. Another thing I love about Eric July, he's like, bro, if you got so many words on Twitter, just come on, give me a call, and does it publicly with everybody there. If he's in the mood, he's like, you got so many words on Twitter. I'm doing a live. Why don't you come up on and let's talk about it? That's somebody who's confident in their ideas, are well thought out, not afraid to change their mind, not afraid. You can't do a quick conversation like that with somebody if you're afraid to agree with them if they're right. So he brings on people who dissed his books or whatever. And the funny thing is, when he talks to them, they kind of say, well, you didn't do it through the right channels. And he's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about through the right channels? Like, you didn't go through this distributor. He's like, bro, why would I go through the distributor to pay a middleman when I'm doing it myself? They want you to go through the same X type of thing where the experts told you to take this. The experts say we can't release the manifesto. The experts are the old guard of the comic books. Those are the ones that we go through because they're going to have the gay Superman son kissing another man, or they'll do whatever needs to be done. It's not interesting. It doesn't matter if there's gay characters in there. It could be interesting. You can make it gay. I bet you before it's all said and done, Eric July is going to have a gay character in one of his comic books. Mark it. No different than having a black person in there. That's not the problem. The problem is you force it on it and the writing is terrible, but they want you to go through that because that's the narrative. They'll have Obama in the comic books. He won't. They'll do whatever's needed politically. So everything, people just really turned really political. They'll have Black Lives Matter in there. He won't. Taco said, this is why I love rap artists like Tom McDonald. He speaks out against the division, saying the feds and their employees are playing us. Yep. I really like Tom McDonald for that. He's a very unifying type of artist. He's not afraid to say what he means and how he feels, but he's not trying to have beef with you just to have beef with you. That's another thing. There's so many layers. Taco says they're afraid of free-thinking black men. Absolutely. That is part of this narrative. This is part of why they don't like this. Absolutely. Not only that, the lead character is black. So it shatters their whole, you see how many layers we've just unpacked here? That's why there's so much back and forth. But again, today, maybe I just was more in the political realm. I didn't see one negative comment today, so I don't know. But the main character is black. If you don't know Isom, the main character in Isom is black. Nobody care. And it's not Token When he talks about tokenization is when you're basically taking a white character and making a historically white character, and then you just make them black just to make them black. He's like, this, if you want to, he didn't do it for that, but he was like, he's showing it by example, how you make a black character and people love it. Nobody cares. Like, I don't even think about that. Nobody even think about that. You chat with people on the Isom stuff. Nobody even talks about Isom being black. Nobody cares. So he's breaking that narrative. Yeah, man, there's a lot. There's a lot to this. Matthew Butts says Captain America Comics was basically shedding a light on Operation Paperclip when Nazis were brought into Western governments. Yep. Yeah. So you can do that. And I actually gave Eric feedback because I almost don't want him to be too apolitical, because X-Men was a very political, in my opinion. I think Eric might disagree, but not from the whole Malcolm X versus Martin Luther King thing, but it was it talked about government, the role of government. Justice League did too, but like, what's the role of the government in society? Batman was like, what's the role of the police? Batman's a vigilante. Is Batman good or bad? That's not political. That's more social, but he'll get into those issues, so that's not a problem. But I don't want him to be afraid to do stuff like that, Matthew Butts. Captain America was basically shedding a light on Operation Paperclip. Yeah, it was kind of mimicking that. And I don't think he needs to do that exactly, but my point is, well, he did a little bit in Isom too. What's the name of the character? It's not going to be in this one, but he's had different characters in here that kind of represent different things. But I still haven't done a full breakdown. So I got to do that. I got to do my full breakdowns of these books and the characters. But just the politics I haven't uploaded on that channel in a long time. This whole part about the comic books should go on that channel. We'll see if I get around to it. YouTube doesn't even care about videos longer than 59 seconds shorts. I won't get many views, so it's a lot of work for no views, but the views aren't everything. Adventurous Guide to the Galaxy says, I think the free-thinking black man and the black man character hurts the industry folks' feeling more than anything. That's what I've experienced my whole life. Yep. And it's even worse for them because he doesn't say, well, I'm a black man and here's a black man. It's almost like they would want him to say that too. Like he doesn't even talk about that stuff. Because it's just not his character. I respect it. And I think that angers them more. He broke down their narratives and doesn't even really flaunt that part in their face. He brings it up every once in a while, but it's not like he does it like a recurring thing. Such a great vibe, man. I said, what a time to be alive, man. Got the book for my kid, so I didn't get much gear, though. I did get a shirt. You know I had to get a shirt to represent. But I did get a shirt. I do want to come back and get the sweater, poster. But I should probably save up for that Yaira. Let me show you the Yaira cover. Yo. I showed my son the Yaira cover. And he was like, where's the Yaira trailer? See, we getting spoiled, E. We getting too spoiled, E. My son was like, where's the Yaira You know how much work he probably puts into that, money and edits and stuff? And he's on the Alpha Core. You know, my son obviously doesn't fully understand that you're on the Alpha Core campaign. But, I mean, he's the one that released the Yaira cover. So we getting spoiled, Eric. Where's the Yaira trailer? Wouldn't that be funny if people just got angry, like, Yaira trailer? You know, like, hold up. We're still in the Alpha. The first day of the Alpha Core came out. I was like, bruh, just take my money. It's a wrap. It's a beautiful looking cover. Cover A, cover number 1 for Yaira right here. Yo, this looks cold. Oh my goodness. Yaira is one of our favorites. We don't know much about Yaira. Just a mysterious character with cool powers, a really, really cool outfit. costume or whatever you call that for superheroes. And so this smart Yaira has the ice. We don't know much about her superpowers because he's revealing stuff slowly. That's really good. Build it up slowly. There's no rush. You're planning on doing a universe here. This winter for it looks like the Ice Queen Yaira. That I gotta watch the budget on that one. I gotta really watch the budget because I could have a charge on that one easily for like $500, and my wife's like, "What the hell?" My wife's gonna be like, "Wait, what is that?" my wife's gonna be like, "Honey, what's $1,000? What's the Ripperverse?" She knows what it is. But I'm just playing around. Yeah, then she'll be like, "What? Wait, what?" She's like, "Did you drop a G on the Ripperverse?" It's Yaira. It's Yaira. I'm telling you. Oh man, that one's gonna be. I'm not lying. That one's gonna be a. That's gonna be a few hundred on that one. We have to put some money aside for that one. But Alpha Core, we excited for that too with Chuck Dixon. Buddha Cafe says, Yaira reminds me of that girl sitting in the back of the bar in the shade waiting for something to pop off. Yeah. What a description. That's a dope. That is so true. That's exactly the vibe you get from Yaira. And isn't that the type of girl you're at least I'll speak for myself. That's the type of girl. I think you would describe my wife that way. That's the exact type of girl that I like. The type of girl that's sitting in the back of the bar. I bet you the Saska twins, if they saw that, they would be like, yep, you got it. And I should play a clip from them. They talked a lot about Yaira. They almost broke, some spoilers and stuff when they were on with Eric July, but it got me hyped, man. They put a lot into that. But I agree with that. That was a good description. It's a great description. Jordan Lott, yo, talker for speaker. Heck yeah, libertarians leading the charge everywhere. Let's go. Okay. What's up, Jordan Lott? We talk about libertarians, man. I mean, the comic books is apolitical, but we know Eric July is, ANCAP and doing big things, man. You see a lot of people, nothing but love, respect for what this bruh's doing right now. Very excited to see where this is going to go. I mean, you could see in the preview for one of his streams, he has like a fake video game fighting like a Street Fighter with Isom and Yaira. And my son came downstairs. It's like, oh, he's like, Isom, Yaira. And it says, press start. He's like, Daddy, how do I press start? I was like, it's just for show, but I'm sure it's coming at some point. It looked really cool. I can't lie. It looked like he wanted to play it because it looked exactly like a video game. Jordan Lott said, I guess Jesse Ventura was on Jen's show today. Jesse was on General. Yeah, they're cool with him. I should peep that. He's great. I like Jesse. I know he got a little bit more woke, but overall, I like Jesse. He's been based. Go back to his old clips. I mean, you might have seen that. Was he trying to dabble with the Libertarian Party? The thing I like about him, even though I have to look in to see how exactly woke he is, but he did talk about some identitarianism, which is so weird coming from him. But I think they said he was dabbling with the Libertarian Party, and I like Joshua Smith. I like Dr. Michael Rechtenwald, but Jesse Ventura has more of a presence. So that was an interesting discussion if they were having it. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'll have to go see that. What do we see here? Do it like Stan Lee did with X-Men. It's political but not divisive. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like I think I did a super chat. This was with Isom 1, so this is like over a year ago. For Isom 1, I did a feedback to Eric. I was like, just don't be too afraid to dabble into like government. You have to, I think, government dynamics with the people at least. Don't mimic anything in real life because that takes the immersion out of it. You go into the comic book to go into the world, and I don't want to see like the reflection of Trump and stuff like that we've seen in some other indie books even. I haven't read them, but just seeing now online. I did get Truth, Justice, and the American Way. You might see me wear that shirt sometime with the Scales of Justice. That's where I got that from. That's Gabe El Taib's book. So I am dabbling into some independent stuff. Anybody read that Keanu Reeves one? I heard that come up a lot. Eric July's talked about it. Not to diss it, just in comparison and other stuff. I haven't read that. It looks dope. The Keanu Reeves book. But I gotta say for Yaira. I gotta say for Yaira. Yeah, Jordan Lott agrees. Yeah, Eric July is so good. He does those awesome books. He's so go. So this dude does the comic books, rapping, metal, the YouTube business. I mean, it's insane. I don't know how he does all that stuff. Just absolutely insane. Here's the Rippaverse, just to kind of wrap up on where we are with the Rippaverse. I'm going to jump into, he streamed today, as he always does, to kind of use, he doesn't have any, I don't think he pays for any advertising. This is like Elon Musk. He does not pay anybody, to my knowledge, for advertising. Well, maybe he might at some point, I don't know, but let's take in and see how it started off on his live today. I have not heard this actually. Let's see how it's going.
We do.
Alpha Core 1.
What is up, everybody? I appreciate y'all. I have been up. Look, I'm going to be completely transparent with you. This ain't going to be the longest stream in the world. I've been up since 4 fucking a.m.
You know when a streamer says that means like 2 hours. People who do like TV and stuff like that, they don't do no 2 hours, especially if you don't count commercials. He's like, yeah, I've done that too. I'm like, man, this is going to be a short stream. I get on with Ray. I'm like, Ray, we're going to do a short stream. 2.5 hours later, we're like, bro, we should probably end it. 2 hours. And this one went for 1 hour and 40 minutes. That's a short stream for all nighter almost.
Is ready. Been at the warehouse. Been with the team. We've been busy. We'll have some stuff to talk about. Let's just say that on some stuff that we've been doing today. It's been a crazy day. Alpha Core launching this morning. Us already hitting 500,000. Closing in actually on 600,000 as of right now. And it's been an insane release. It's been incredible. And I just made a post and I posted that. So I posted this, on I think all 4 on social media. For sure it's on my YouTube and Twitter. And look, I'll be completely transparent with you guys.
I've not seen this. I wonder if he's going to say he didn't know how well this one would sell. I'm guessing that he might go there. I don't know. I have not seen this before.
I'll start. Y'all got to understand that all right, let me be transparent. I'll say basically what I already said. Let me be transparent. The day before the campaign or leading into the campaign, that shit can be stressful. Okay? And the reason why I say that is because there's so much going into it. And I'm 100% talking I'm willing to talk about it. But we had a lot of things that happened prior to, or let's say again, after, let's actually backtrack a little bit. ISOM 2's fulfillment happens. We immediately get into work on, because this is the first time we've done this, going from one campaign to another. Instead of having y'all wait fucking 3 years between campaigns, we're delivering on a product right after we just delivered the previous one. And that's the first time that we've done it in that short amount of time. ISOM 1 and ISOM 2, that difference is not too much. So we did what we had to do in implementing the necessary changes to have better fucking releases. That's what it was about. The customers. So we're working.
I'm telling you, the experience was top notch. The first two books, the first two ISOMs, the day that they launched, the website, like if you were one of the first people on there, the website would hold up. It would be loading forever. Both days, both releases. This release was dope. It had you in like a little waiting room. So you went to the website, and it's not there anymore because it's not getting hits like right when it first launched. So you would go to a waiting room and it would say, hey, you got a couple seconds. So you would wait, not even a minute, probably like 15 seconds. And then you would get in and you would have 10 minutes or whatever to make your decision or something like that. Or it would time out after a certain time, but it was just completely smooth. There was no delay. You could look at what you wanted, click. So they put some work in on that website.
Very hard to get the books, finish the books, to get the books printed, do all that. And we're scrambling, doing all that we need to do. We've grown our team. We have more hands on deck, which is positive. And then you lead up into the campaign, and there's two things. It's not just that, okay? The other thing that you also have to consider is that this is the first non-ISOM property of the Rippaverse. So you're going into it with having all of the stuff that we've been working hard on, hoping that everything goes smoothly, the newly implemented things, on top of it being an untested property.
Yep, he's basically saying what I said.
And it's hard to guess that, right? And we're not like setting these low campaign goals just to set them. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people do, to just, all right, you want to pass it, so you just set it low. What we do is we try to gauge, not try, what we do is we're gauging that number, or that number, we need that to be reflective of how much we've invested in this, how much we feel good about making our money back, yada, yada. That's the number. And these are high numbers. $300,000 is a fucking lot of money. So we set that as our campaign goal. We have this untested property. We have this animation that we dropped and spent a lot of time and effort on. And then
I think the animation is really smart as a promo. It gets you excited about it.
And the Alpha Core leading up to that, everybody's on edge because we want the site to work. We have all this stuff going on. We got our Guatemalan hamsters in place. And despite all that,
500.
This has been our most successful in terms of efficiency campaign.
Yeah. Now, I think ISOM 2, if he didn't have the hiccups in the beginning, would have been probably outdone. But that's why I think he said efficient.
Hey, I'm Chuck Dixon. I've been
Let's look at this, and then we'll be out.
invited to join the Riververse. Eric July has assigned me a 90-page graphic novel called Alpha Core. It stars a team of superhero cops who patrol the skies and the streets of Forest Park in search of super creeps, weirdos, and villains. Boy, do they find them. It's full of action. It's kind of a police procedural meets a superhero epic. And I wish I could tell you who the artist is, but Eric wants to tell you that himself. Trust me, it's a big name, it's a big gun, it's something you've seen before, and I've seen a lot of the artwork, and it is going to blow you away. So check it out, Alpha Core.
Yes, Chuck Dixon, the great Chuck Dixon, has officially joined.
So that was
Riververse.
5 months ago, and I think this was just 5 months ago. Yep. And they got this up and running. What's up, Diggs? This is Twitch. Eric landed Chuck. The boy, they are freaky. Are the freaky people mad? Yep, the freaky people are very mad at it. So that's good for the industry, good for Chuck Dixon, and the Rippaverse has some momentum right now. Really good momentum. I got to put together my little box. I got my little short box or whatever they call it for the comic books. I have it over here. I have it like right over here. I just haven't put it together. But I'm gonna need to now because I'm gonna have a couple books to put in there. So I'm looking forward to all this. Well, thanks everybody for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna be out right now, and I will holla at everybody. Peace.